Kaduna communities protest unrelenting kidnappings and violence as Katsina bandit leaders surrender to military. NLC announces boycott of MTN, Airtel, Glo insist on reversal of telecom tariff increase. National Grid registers first collapse of 2025. Restoration efforts underway. And on the foreign scene, Israel strikes target 2 in Gaza amid fears of ceasefire collapse. Good evening. This is News Update on Trust TV. I am Chiamaka Nwafo. Thank you for joining us. Now the news. Residents of Ungwan Ate in Kachia local government area of Kaduna State took to the streets on Wednesday to protest the relentless attacks and kidnappings plaguing their community and surrounding villages. The protesters in their numbers blocked the Ungwan Ate Ungwan Mission Road along Kaduna Kachia Highway, calling on the Kaduna State government and security agencies to take swift action to protect their lives and properties. They lamented that bandits had turned their communities into war zones, leaving them in a constant state of fear. One of the protesters said gunmen invaded Ungwan Ate on Tuesday night and operated for more than 2 hours, abducting one person. The protesters were seen carrying placards with inscriptions such as, "The Kaduna government says it has made peace with the bandits, but we are being killed every day in Kachia. Uncountable souls are there in the bush suffering for offenses they know nothing about. We cannot go to farms for majority of us depend on farming," among others.
This is the happening life in Kachia.
Several notorious bandit leaders who have been terrorizing Batsari, Safana and Jibia local government areas in Katsina State have reportedly given themselves up to troops of the Nigerian army. Zagozula Makama, a publication specializing in counterinsurgency in the Lake Chad region, named those who surrendered as Aburat Umar Black, Abdullahi Lankai, Jijige and Dabra Musa Dangandu, all of whom had operated from the Jibia axis. The publication cited security sources indicating that the bandits accepted the peace agreement and surrendered after ongoing military operations in the area. According to Makama, the former bandits turned in their weapons to the troops and released several hostages they had previously kidnapped. The bandits reportedly requested that the government offer them alternative sources of livelihood, specifically asking for involvement in the construction of markets and hospitals. They also pledged to embrace peace and end their participation in criminal activities, the publication further added. The Central Working Committee of the Nigerian Labour Congress has directed workers and other willing citizens to boycott services of telecommunications giants such as MTN, Airtel and Glo beginning from 11 a.m. on Thursday, February 13, 2025, over tariff hikes. The decision was announced in a statement by Joe Ajero, the NLC president, and Emmanuel Uwaja, NLC secretary, on Wednesday. In the statement, the CWC demanded an immediate reversal of the tariff hike, which took effect this Wednesday, and insisted that the companies revert to the previous tariff until the committee completes its deliberations and reaches a conclusive agreement. The Congress also criticized the government for failing to protect citizens from corporate exploitation. The NLC also reviewed the tax reform bills, warning against policies that could further burden Nigerian workers. While acknowledging the need for fiscal reforms, Congress vowed to push for fair and worker-friendly tax policies. Nigeria's electricity grid recorded its first disturbance in 2025, leading to disruption of power supply electricity distribution companies DISCOs. A check on the website of the Independent System Operator ISO, an independent arm of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, showed the average electricity supply on the grid dropped from an average of 4,064.70 megawatts around 11 a.m. to 1,222.78 megawatts around 12 p.m. Confirming the grid disturbance, the Abuja Electricity Distribution Company ADC said it stopped receiving electricity supply in its franchise area at 11:38 a.m. In a statement posted on its official X account, AEDC said a system disturbance occurred on the national grid at 11:34 a.m. on Wednesday, causing power outage across its franchise areas. It, however, said gradual restoration of power supply has commenced and assured of working closely with relevant stakeholders to fully restore electricity as soon as the grid is stabilized. Authorities of the Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Unizik, Awka, Anambra State, have commenced an investigation into a scuffle involving a lecturer in the Department of Theatre Arts of the institution and a student over a filmed social media content. A spokesman of the school, Njalita Lewis, said the management of the institution, led by the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Joseph Ikechebulu, would impose the appropriate sanction on any of the parties found culpable. In viral videos, a third-year student in the Department of History and International Studies, Godi Precious, was seen around the corridors dancing before her phone, capturing a TikTok moment when the lecturer, Dr. Chukwudi Okoye, walked past her from behind. The lecturer gently tapped the female student on the shoulder, asking her to give way, but the student was pissed by the lecturer's action and interruption of her video moment. In the viral videos, the female student accused the lecturer of hitting her, locked his shirt, and dragged him among students. The female student also allegedly beat the lecturer on the wrist and arm during the brawl. While the episode lasted, the lecturer was captured maintaining his composure. Now, the House of Representatives on Wednesday passed the tax reform bills for second reading following extensive and robust debates on the general principles of the legislations by lawmakers. The House had earlier consolidated the four bills sent to the House by President Bola Tinubu last year into one before beginning the debate on the general principles. The consolidation of the bills followed a motion by the House leader, Julius Ihonvere, following the leave granted by the Speaker Abbas Tajuddin. The House leader, Julius Ihonvere, led the lead debate on the consolidated tax reform, stressing the necessity of overhauling the country's tax reform, which he described as obsolete. In their contributions to the debate on the general principles of the bills, the majority of the lawmakers spoke in support of passage of the bill for second reading. After an extensive deliberation, the consolidated bills were overwhelmingly passed for a second reading after it was put to a voice vote by the Speaker, Abbas Tajuddin. Still in the National Assembly over the Red Chamber, the Senate on Wednesday passed four bills after recommitting them to the Committee of the Whole. They are Northwest Development Commission, Southwest Development Commission, Southeast Development Commission, and the National Youth Service Corps Trust Fund establishment bills. Leader of the Senate, Opeyemi Bamidele, moved the motion for the recommittal, recalling that the bills have been passed and forwarded for transmission to President Bola Tinubu. Bamidele said the action of the lawmakers relied on Orders 1B and 52 of Senate Standing Rules 52 subsection 6 of the Senate Standing Orders. He specifically mentioned clauses 14, 15 and 4 subsection 1 of the respective bills before the Senate resolved in the Committee of the Whole. In his remark after the passage, President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, thanked the lawmakers for their efforts, which he said saw to the smooth and swift passage of the bills.
Recalls that the following bills were passed by the Senate and the House of Representatives and were forwarded to the Clerk to the National Assembly for onward transmission to the President and Commander-in-Chief for assent, namely 1. Northwest Development Commission Establishment Act Amendment Bill 2025, 2. Southwest Development Commission Establishment Bill 2025, 3. Southeast Development Commission Establishment Act Amendment Bill 2025, and 4. National Youth Service Corps Trust Fund Establishment Bill 2025. Senate observes that the funding clauses for the Commission and the fund which are proposed to be established as provided in these bills appear to contradict Section 162 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended.
The establishment and the committee of the whole working on these amendments expeditiously in order to bring the various regional development bills in tandem with the provisions of the Nigerian Constitution, particularly Section 162, which clearly states that all funds accruing to the Federation shall be paid into the Consolidated Revenue Fund of the Federation, and therefore we cannot, through an act of Parliament, amend or delete that aspect of the constitutional provision. So by these various amendments, from the NYC Act to the Northwest Development Act to the Southeast Development Commission Act to the Southwest Development Commission Act, all are now brought into conformity with the Nigerian Constitution.
Away from that, over in Adamawa State, Governor Omadu Fintiri says his previous directive revoking government-owned lands that have been illegally occupied or encroached upon by individuals and organizations remains in effect. The governor made his position during an interview with journalists following an inspection of government facilities and projects initiated by his administration in the state. Gibson Swadigo tells us more in this report.
Governor Fintiri, accompanied by government officials, expressed significant concern regarding the illegal occupation and encroachment of the State Agricultural Mechanization Authority's property in Kofa, Yola. He communicated his dissatisfaction with these unlawful activities and indicated that the government will undertake necessary measures to rectify the situation and reclaim its property. The governor emphasized the importance of this action, noting that he had previously revoked all government-owned properties and facilities that were occupied or encroached upon without authorization in 2019.
People have encroached, people have taken over the land, people have taken over the offices and converted them to their personal use. In some cases, they're even selling beers and the rest of them. And so I'm out because in 2019, I have revoked this land. People have started even taking it upon themselves again to go ahead forcefully to develop this land. And we'll either convert these lands to government property or we'll remove them completely and put structures that will look like an office where these our young youths that will be employed will work.
Additionally, the governor inspected the state-of-the-art laboratory complex at the State Specialist Hospital, the Adamawa State Health Supplies Management Agency, and the Model Primary School in Jamaica. He expressed satisfaction with these projects, which are approaching completion.
How to see the multiple infrastructural development that we did over the last 2 years, which most of them have matured as at end of last year. And we're out to see to ourselves so that we can start commissioning them and putting them to use, particularly that we want to employ our youths to take over and start running the recruitment system for us.
These initiatives are designed to address the health and educational needs of the citizens effectively. Gibson Soadugo, Trust TV News, Yola.
This is still news update on Trust TV. Still to come. Lagos residents call for affordable fuel as Dangote and Port Harcourt refineries ramp up operations. More when we return. Please to stay with us. Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Now a recap of our top stories. We told you that Kaduna communities protest unrelenting kidnappings and violence as Katsina bandit leaders surrender to the military. Also informed you that NLC says to boycott MTN, Airtel, Glo insist on reversal of telecom tariff increase. Two more stories. The Dangote Petroleum Refinery and Petrochemicals has dropped the cost of its diesel to 1,020 naira per litre, down from 1,075 naira per litre at the gantry price. In a statement, the company said that reduction was part of its efforts to better serve its customers and Nigerians in general. Since it began diesel production in January 2024, the refinery has reduced the price of diesel more than 3 times, from an initial 1,700 naira per litre to the current rate, thus providing much-needed relief to manufacturers and consumers alike. Recently, the private refinery slashed its ex-depot price for petrol from 950 naira per litre to 890 naira per litre, based on market realities. Over in Lagos State, residents have been speaking on the potential of local crude oil refining delivering affordable fuel for the nation. This comes as the Dangote and Port Harcourt refineries ramp up operations and raise hopes of a gradual fall in the price of petrol for local consumption. Victoria Tokolo brings us more of this report as presented from our studio.
For decades, Nigeria's refining capacity has been crippled by inefficiency, poor management and political interference. The country's 2 major government-owned refineries have remained largely dormant. With a combined installed refining capacity of 445,000 barrels per day, these refineries should in theory meet a significant portion of Nigeria's fuel demand. However, due to decades of neglect and mismanagement, they have been running at less than 20% of their installed capacities, leading to a complete reliance on fuel imports. Over the years, several turnaround maintenance projects have been initiated to revamp the refineries, yet none have yielded meaningful results. Political interference, lack of technical expertise, and corruption have ensured that billions of naira allocated to these projects have gone down the drain. But with the coming on stream of the Dangote refinery as well as the government-owned facility in Port Harcourt, Lagos residents believe that local refining has the capacity to make fuel more affordable for Nigerians.
If the Minister of Petroleum can do the needful, if the Minister of Interior Education, whatever they call themselves, they can do the needful, we definitely get it and we get what we need.
Well, as far as I know, it's only 2 refineries that are working, the Port Harcourt and the Warri refinery. So the other one is Dangote refinery. Well, what I can say is that with time, what is supposed to be is that the fuel price will go down. Now that the refineries are beginning to work, if actually they've started, dispensing oil, that's fuel. With time, I believe that the price of fuel will go down.
If government is really ready to support, because if they are not supporting the local refineries, I mean, there can't be the best. You cannot get the best Because even if we give them the opportunity to produce, are we going to reduce the fuel pump price? Because that's just it. I don't think local refinery cannot be the best for us. Our Republic of Nigeria are not willing and ready to make the refineries in Nigeria work, because we from grapevine we have got to understand that the unscrupulous politicians who are grandstanding, masquerading as leaders of Federal Republic of Nigeria, have refineries around the world, and by so doing they carry the crude oil in Nigeria to outside the Federal Republic of Nigeria, refine the crude oil and bring it back and sell in Nigeria. A lot of Nigerians were of the view that with the coming of Dangote refinery that the fuel will become cheaper, but today reverse is the case.
The challenges facing Nigeria's refining sector extend beyond production capacity. Infrastructure remains a major obstacle, with pipeline vandalism, crude oil theft, and an inadequate distribution network significantly impacting the inefficiency of fuel supply. Until these issues are resolved, the dream of affordable locally refined fuel remains a dream.
Following intense opposition from stakeholders, the Nigerian Customs Service has announced the suspension of the implementation of a 4% free on board FOB value on imports. Customs spokesman Abdullahi Mayweather, in a statement on Tuesday, said the suspension would enable comprehensive engagement and consultations between the Minister of Finance, Olawale Edun, and other stakeholders. The FOB, which is a 4% charge on imported goods, was meant to replace an older system where companies like Webb Fontaine handled import inspections for a 1% fee. The statement said under the previous funding arrangement repealed by the Nigerian Customs Service Act NCSA 2023, separating the 1% CISS and 7% cost of collection created operational inefficiencies and funding gaps in customs modernization efforts. It further added that the new Act addresses these challenges by consolidating not less than 4% of the free on-board value of imports, designed to ensure sustainable funding for critical customs operations and modernization initiatives. Away from Nigeria, the Israeli military on Wednesday said airstrikes had struck 2 people in Gaza who were attempting to retrieve an Israeli drone that crossed into the Palestinian enclave before it was downed by the army. It came amid a new push by mediators to try to salvage the fragile Gaza truce deal. Mediators, Qatar and Egypt are pushing to salvage the Gaza ceasefire deal, a Palestinian source said, after Israel and the U.S. told Hamas to release hostages this weekend or face a return to war. Under the terms of the truce, which has largely halted more than 15 months of fighting, captives were to be released in batches in exchange for Palestinians in Israeli custody. So far, there have been 5 hostage prisoner swaps, but the deal has come under strain, prompting diplomatic efforts to salvage it. In other sports, the Nigeria's Flying Eagles are among the top seeds for the 2025 Africa Under-20 Cup of Nations as 13 countries prepare to compete at the biennial competition. The teams will be divided into Groups A, B and C, with Group A containing 5 teams and Groups B and C 4 sides each. The top 2 teams in each group will qualify for the quarterfinals along the 2 best third-place sides. The draw ceremony will hold at the headquarters of the Confederation of African Football (CAF) in Cairo, Egypt on Thursday. Côte d'Ivoire will host the competition from Saturday, April 26th to Sunday, May 18th. The top 4 nations will qualify for the 2025 FIFA Under-20 World Cup that will be staged in Chile later in the year. News update at this time. For more of our news programs and documentaries, to want to follow us on our social media platforms and on our YouTube live stream. I am Chiamaka Nwafo. Thank you for joining us at this time. Good evening.